Hi, welcome to Sattva Restorative Yoga Therapy. Today's pose is going to be the figure 4 hip release. Notice that I say hip release because we're not necessarily stretching the body. We're not looking for a big sensation. Even a stretch puts a load on the body. So this is all about taking that load off. So we'll need 2 blankets for today. One is going to support your head. And then the other one is going to be placed underneath your hips. So we're also going to use a little bit of a wall space. So position yourself next to a wall. And then about a shin's distance away from the wall, we're going to take a blanket. And then about a torso's distance, and we can adjust once we get down there. So again, we'll just start to kneel down, lower the hip onto the blanket like we did in our legs up the wall pose, and then start to roll down. And just get into position where you could place your feet against the wall, hips width apart. And then the shoulders are fully relaxed into the floor, and the head and neck is supported. So once you get here, your arms can be out to the side or on the body. And then we're going to start by crossing the left ankle over the right. Now this may be enough for you. If you ever start to feel that sensation of pull or stretch, then we're not going to be able to relax fully. If you can start to go a little further, you can slide that ankle up to the knee. And you might need to scoot your hips a little bit further away from the wall, like I need to. Good, and then if you feel like you can relax there, you can always circle around the ankle, move the knee toward you and toward the wall in a little bit of adduction and abduction. And then get to that place where you can surrender and let your hips fall into the blanket. So I'll show you from the side what it looks like. Your upper body is completely relaxed, but you have this figure 4. Now, if the wall is too much, you can take the foot to a block as well. Then you don't have to have such a hip crease. Good, and then just staying here, we'll take about a minute on each side, a minute or 2 on each side. And breathing, just letting the hips drop into the floor. If at any time you feel your knees or ankle just needing a little bit of movement, you can go back into circling the ankle or moving the knee toward you and away. And that can help release tension from the hips. So little micro movements are just totally fine in our restorative yoga therapy and really welcomed. And deepen your breath. If at any time it becomes difficult to breathe out through the nose, then breathe out through pursed lips. You can even take an ah sound. Since we're down into the hips, sometimes we carry a lot of tension there. So you might inhale through the nose and exhale. And feel your body respond to that. It's a natural sound we make after coming home and relaxing, especially from like a long day of physical activity. So we can do that now and let the body relax, let the mind relax. Just a few more breaths here. This is wonderful for those big rotator muscles on the sides of the hips, the piriformis muscles. Next breath in, really fill up the chest, and then exhale, slide the foot back down. And if you were just by the ankle, you'll just uncross and set it back on the wall. And then we'll all meet each other there with our feet back into the wall. And we have 90 degrees between our shins and our thighs. And then let's go to the other side. And the 2 sides could be different as far as the distance away from the wall. So crossing the right ankle over the left knee. And then just glide it up toward that left knee. Otherwise, just keeping it down on the shin or ankle, wherever it feels appropriate for your hip. Notice when you're sliding that ankle up to the knee, do you hike your hips or can you keep them in the same position? And then circle around the ankle. Bring your knee toward you and toward the wall a couple times in that hip abduction and adduction. Do you notice a difference between the two sides? Just notice. Can you make micro movements, or when you're moving your knee, are you shifting your whole pelvis? Notice that. Can you isolate just moving that thigh bone? These are little things we work on in yoga therapy. Good things to be aware of. You might notice that foot on the wall. Are you rolling and pushing more into the big toe side or the pinky toe side? Can you feel your whole foot on the wall? Good. So this observation. And then just release into the pose. We always want to adapt to accommodate anything that's going on a particular day. Every day the body is new. Breathing into your belly, maybe that ah, or breathing out through pursed lips. And release your hips and pelvis and low back. The hands can be on the low belly or stomach, or just opening out to the sides with the palms up. Widening across the shoulders to feel held by the support of the floor beneath you. Feel that stream of breath along the spine and nourishing the hips, especially those larger outer hip muscles that get pretty tight whether we're seated in chairs or pretty active. So we can all use this hip release. Few more deep breaths. Just letting go of any need to control and hold the body in any way. Maybe your toes are gripping. Maybe your glutes or your stomach. Try to breathe into those areas just by shifting your awareness. Maybe that shape change. You can create some space there with your focus and breath. On your next inhale, filling up, spreading out across the rib cage, and then sliding your right foot down. If it's up over the knee, and then from the ankle, taking that foot hips width apart. You can always take a little bit of a pelvic tilt here as you press both feet into the floor and just roll on the sacrum. Lifting the tailbone and then releasing it back. Just a very micro movement through the hips and pelvis. And then we'll roll over to one side, whatever side is most comfortable for you. Use your strong arms to push up and let your head and neck come up last as you join me back in a seated position on the chair or on the floor. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Vani with PranaYoga Insitute, and this has been Sattva Restore, your restorative yoga therapy break. Namaste.